Alright guys, so today I'm going to talk about lawn spreaders and which one you should get and why. So if you're one of those people who's like, just get to the point, and you want to know my favorite, right now my favorite is the Anderson's LCO 1000, and the reason is huge hopper, very smooth, easy to push, very durable. And this guy here, you can lock it in closed, you know it's closed, open, you know it's open, and then the settings are obviously here. You'll notice that the Echo RB60 has a separate handle there, the Scott's Elite Spreader has a handle there, the Yard Star does not have a handle, the normal Scott's Turf Builder has a handle. Now what's interesting to note is the RB80, which is actually at my neighbor's house. He bought it from me because I've got too many spreaders. It had the same handle as this one, which I didn't like. So I thought it was interesting that the RB60 now has the spring-loaded handle and also a better built handlebars. It used to be more like that one. So the next thing to look into is, okay, now I'll tell you why I like that, is because when you've got this like this, there's no spring loaded to this, and it can easily just pop open a little bit or a tiny bit, and as you're going, you're spilling, you don't realize it. So that's the reason why. The next item I'll talk about is the edge guards. Now, the Scott's one has this little one that you can kick open and close. Does okay. This guy here, the Deluxe, so when you open this, it slides the edge guard out for you, but then also closes one of the sets of holes. Let me change it so you can see it. So see, the left side is blocked and some of the right is blocked, but the right side's open. You turn it off and all of them are open. Now the Echo has a side guard here on the left side, which is interesting, and it's just a flap you can kick up and down. This one, you would have to purchase one because it's an add-on kit. Now the RB80, which was interesting, because it had that style handle and there was no edge guard built in, you had to pull these little tabs in the front and the back. I'll see if I got some clips to show you. So that was not fun. Out of all of them, I would say the Elite Spreader from Scott's has the best edge guard because it's right there. You can do it with your hand. You don't have to be like kicking under. It's actually really easy to flip it on and off as you're going too. Now, when it comes to build quality, this one obviously is the cheapest, it's the smallest. I mean, you barely touch it and this thing will fall over. I've spilt entire hopperfuls of fertilizer with that guy. So I don't recommend leaving it on the grass like this where it could topple over, which is why it's empty, by the way. This one is very sturdy. The wheel width is much better. You could topple it, but it would take a lot more pressure, so you're way less likely. This one, I feel like it could easily topple backwards, but not sideways. So if you have a full, that might be enough weight to hold it up. This one feels okay. This guy here, this is like sturdy. This is empty and it's hard to do, so that one would definitely be hard to topple it. So, all right, let's see. Hopper size, obviously, this is a huge one for my yard. Like, it's overkill. Most homeowners, they're gonna want something in this range. I feel like any of these will do. If you're on a budget, that one is still doable, guys. I use this for many years. The con is you just gotta keep filling up the hopper. So when I used to do my Milo treatments over there, I would have the bag at the end of the driveway. I'd do a pass over and back, fill it up, pass over and back, fill it up. With the others, I don't have to do that. As far as I can tell, I haven't measured, so this isn't scientific, but I believe this one dumps out the most product at a time. I went through half a bag of Milorganite or Bay State fertilizer just in one pass back and forth here. So I was really surprised with that. The others, I feel like these three all do the same similar amount of spread at the max setting, which is good. I mean, that was a bit crazy, but if you want to go crazy with it, that one does well. But the hopper size can't fit a whole bag. I technically filled a whole bag in here, but it was over the brim and spilling out as I walked. So that's not necessarily good. Let's see, so tires. You can see both the Anderson's ones, the tires are much bigger and beefier than all the rest. The Echoes, I think the RB80 had similar tires to this as well. They're still, I think they're still filled with air, but these ones obviously are not. So the bigger the tire, if they're air-filled, it's gonna be a smoother ride. And that one's definitely the smoothest because I think it's got the widest, might be wider, but it's smaller tires, but it's got the widest tire tracks. So it just overall feels better when you're doing huge amounts. Honestly, it really depends on what you're doing, guys. I do feel like these two are the way to go. They do feel very solid. They can fit a lot. That one's got the side guard, but this one is way more beefier. So it really depends on what you want, but I don't want you guys to think you got to keep upgrading. If you're on a budget, do the small one. The nice thing about the Scots is pretty much every product has which numbers to set the Scots guy at. So it's right there, you fill it up. You know, with this one, with the Andersons, some have them, some don't. Again, Scots, but I think the numbers are different than that one. The Echoes all have these stickers that compare. So you got Echo, Scots, Vigoro, Earthway, so you can find the correct setting pretty easily. And then again here, Andersons, these are letters or numbers. So it gives you a little more flexibility if you find a chart with one or the other. But this one's been the hardest to find. But in general, you know, full bore is for Milorganite about 2/3 to, or 1/3 to 2/3 is typical, and then smaller amounts for like throwing down seed and stuff. So it's not too hard to pay attention. All right, guys, so everybody's been talking about this. It's the Echo RB60, brand spanking new, never been used. So Echo did send this to me to review. Does not affect my review of it, but just so you know, the only installation, assembly, whatnot you have to do is these here. You put those on, screw them in, and it's good to go. Everything else was already assembled. It does have a nice feel to it. It doesn't, let's see, oh, what I really like is the chart here, so you can see what settings to put it on. It's got the Scots, Vigoro, Earthway, so you can compare and pick the right numbers. And then here's how you can adjust it. You pull it down, move it left and right. Pretty easy. Now, the thing you'll notice though, the angle of it, if you want to see the chart, make sure you didn't fill it up already. And if you want to see the numbers on there, because I don't know about you, but looking from here, kind of hard to tell where the numbers are. So that's the only, real con I would say, is just the angle and placement. But if you remember to set the setting first, then fill the hopper up, it's gonna be no big deal. Or if you're young like me, you can get down on the ground and check. But for older folks, that's gonna be hard to read. Yeah, but let's give it the good old-fashioned Milorganite base state fertilizer test. See how it handles at full load. Oh, speaking of which, I want to set it to the max setting. Oh, I already did. There you go. Oh, kidding me. We got a full bag in here. Are we gonna get it all? We better. I already opened it. And there is a deflector on the left side. So that's interesting. We'll try that in a minute. All right, let's try the deflector. Huh? I would say that's pretty accurate deflector. The deflector, I mean, you do assume they all work like this, but you put it down and it was pretty much even with the bucket straight that way. So it was nice and easy. I feel like a lot of them still shoot out a little bit to that side, but this one did well. It's not the smoothest, but it's definitely up there. Like this is a good spreader, I would say. Very nice, very smooth feeling, easy to operate. My only con would be just that. I mean, for older folks, that's gonna be hard to see. And if it gets dirty, I don't know, that might also be hard, but. All right, so I will say this. I like how spring-loaded this OnOff, I'll show you real quick. Spring-loaded and then close. It's very on-off, no in-betweens, no accidental. It's very sturdy, very smooth, nice handles. So far, now obviously this is my first time using it, so I can't really say for sure, but this feels like it's gonna become my new favorite spreader. So far it's pretty smooth, feels really strong, so feeling good about it, but we'll see how it goes throughout the season. Now, I don't know if the settings for this are different than other Scott's ones, but I'm gonna go with the normal setting and let's give it a shot. So with this, you should, in theory, be able to switch back and forth while you're doing it. And then it's got a phone holder, but I feel like that's just gonna bounce around, and why do you need your phone? All right, so I got the edge guard on. Let's go. So I'm going to use the edge guard when I get up to the tree. I don't need to, but since we're playing with this, I did. Worked okay. It did spread out much farther than the normal Scott's one. It can definitely hold more, but it doesn't feel, so like when you're using the tiny Scott's spreader, it feels really cheap and flimsy. This, because it's the wider wheel pattern, it doesn't feel that way. Could get a little top heavy, but that part, but it is a lot harder to push. It's not, I don't know how to explain it, but it doesn't feel smooth. So when you're pushing it, you gotta give it quite a bit of a push. And I don't know if that's the dual impellers or if it's the wheels just aren't as nice or what, but yeah, it's not as smooth as the nicer spreaders that I've used. But that being said, I mean, it did work. Oh, look, there's a lock here. Let's see. Okay, that still did something. Okay, what's the point of the lock when you do that? Still. So I don't know what that deal is. Seems like a useless feature. This worked fine. It definitely put down more product than the mini spreader does, so I would say you're gonna have to do some playing. Don't use the, well, you could use the default settings. It wasn't like a crazy difference, but it's not gonna be the exact same. Yeah, I mean, it's a decent spreader. It doesn't feel as cheap as the normal Scott's one, but I would definitely not put it in the class of, you know, the nice high-end spreaders. If you remember, the Echo RB80 had a similar control to this. I think it was the RB80. But yeah, and it's similar build to that. It feels all right. Now, what's interesting about this, well, the settings are over here. So what you would do is you'd put this to the setting you want, and then you just open it to that. But I'm not a fan of this style because I've lost this before on another spreader, and these are just easy to pop open and not realize it. The other Anderson spreader I like because it's like a dong, dong, you know, you feel the spring loaded action and you know it's open or closed. Let's see, another thing that's interesting is the instructions refer to having this here. Now, I don't know if this is just a piece that was missing, but there's a little flap here for an edge guard, essentially. But no piece came with this, so I don't know if that's intentional or not, or if it's an add-on kit you have to buy. But I'll leave it open. And I mean, the size of the hopper, it's not the biggest size hopper, but for a small yard, it looks like a decent size. We'll have to do the base state fertilizer test and see if we can get a whole bag in there. All right, so it fit a whole bag. Let's see how it works. All right, so that actually wasn't that bad, and look how much it put down. Just one pass and one pass. It put down quite a bit, half a bag. So that's a really heavy rate. I was pretty surprised by that. You could see the spread is about traditional, but what's interesting is it's definitely shooting it. I got it in my shoes, so it's shooting it backwards, like almost in all directions. But it definitely threw down a heavy rate just now. It didn't feel too bad. I wouldn't say it's the easiest. It was kind of on the rough side pushing it, but it didn't feel wobbly. It doesn't feel. It feels flimsier than some. Like the bigger Anderson's model. That one is like the Cadillac. This one, I feel like it would be okay. I mean, it's hard to tell with these things longevity-wise, but I do feel these controls are a little bit harder to go on though. That's the big downside to me. I don't like that you're doing the setting both open and close with the same thing, and on top of that, like what I mean is This one, when you're going to set it to the setting, you know, you got to use this, but like that's not giving you crazy accuracy. And when you start opening it, it's already pouring stuff out. Like, you know, you got to go right away and just hope it doesn't pop out. But I mean, look at how much came out in just that split second. That's a lot of fertilizer, and it definitely landed on the back, which is explaining why it shoots in all directions. But there you have it. Those are the current ones on the market that a lot of people are using. So there's obviously tons more spreaders out there in all shapes and sizes, but what I'm finding is a lot of times that they're all going to be similar in those details. So look for the handles, whether it's a squeeze type or the flap back and forth, pop in or out. So there is a brand that it's like a push button or push or pull similar to this, but I haven't seen those in a while. And yeah, there you go. I know I keep saying there you go and then I have more to talk about, but if you have any questions, feel free to post, and obviously feel free to give your input if you have any of these models. I will say durability wise, it's really hard to tell. You know, I don't use these professionally, so I'm not putting a lot of wear and tear on them, so I have no idea how long they're gonna last. I do know this one has lasted me forever. I do know that one, the previous owner, I only knew he had it because he was getting rid of it for, I think, a better model like that. But, you know, I did try it. Did work okay. You can see, I think, some rusting going on there. And these are fairly new, so I'm not sure about that. But then that one, I think I see some rusting anyways, and it's still working fine. But yeah, there's pros and cons to everything. I think the biggest thing will be how much fertilizer you're actually putting down. If you're putting down large amounts, definitely go with that one. If you're intermediate yard size, I would probably go with the Echo RB60. And then if you're on a budget, the Scots, definitely the Scots. I will say this one came with a top just like that one did, but I could not for the life of me get it on top. So maybe you would have better success. There you go. If you like my videos, you'll love my website, grassdaddy.net. The lawn care planner tool will download the local weather reports every morning and build a lawn care plan catered to your area. The lawn care journal allows you to keep track of what you put down, when you put it down, so there's no more guessing or over or under applying any products. We also have a Lawn of the Week contest. Every week a winner gets a Grass Daddy t-shirt. And last but not least, there are application calculators and articles to help you identify and tackle problems in the lawn. So check it out, it's completely free, it's grassdaddy.net.